Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. How's it going today? So I am doing a follow-up video on 45, people who voted for 45, okay? I did a video a couple days ago with this exact question. So what do the spirit guides say about people who voted for 45, basically, okay? In that video, it's a shorter one, it's about 20 minutes. I said to you, if you have any questions, additional questions, let me know and put them in the comments, and people did, which is amazing. So I have 45 questions. Oh no, I don't have that many. I have 29 questions. I have 31 questions. I have 31 questions. Okay. I was just looking at the spreadsheet my sister put together for me. So we will see how many I can get through. And if I need to break it up, I will. If I, it just depends on how long the questions. Sometimes I ask additional questions are based around what people ask, just for clarity. So if I need to break this up, I'll see. It just depends on how long I can talk. So, all right. So I'll do a little bit of an intro real quick for folks who are new here. So again, my name is Karen. Hello, welcome. If you're not subscribed, it would help the channel greatly. So I would love it if you would. And give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this content. Okay, and obviously only subscribe if you're enjoying the content as well. So if it's helpful for you. All right. So I have to move myself around a little bit to get to the questions here. Okay, so basically I use these dowsing rods to communicate with my spirit guides. If you're like, what? What's that all about? Then I would encourage you to go to my channel playlists, and there's a playlist called About This Channel, and there'll be a bunch of videos in there that you can choose from just to learn a little bit more. So more basics, okay? Excuse me. So, but I will just give you a quick introduction to these. So I'm going to say a quick prayer, and here, let me do the prayer, and then I'm going to take you through how this works. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides and guardians, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel so it's only of the light. Amen. Hey, you guys. Talking to my spirit guides. So that's their hello. How you guys doing today? I always feel, this is the first time I'm talking to them today, so awesome. They're always good, but I feel like I should at least acknowledge that. I mean, how rude, right? If I don't? Okay. So when I ask a question, they are only yes and no questions, obviously, because I am not hearing anything or seeing anything in my third eye, basically. So like some people have that, which is amazing. It's just not something I've developed at this point. So when I ask questions, they're going to answer yes this way. So my right, your left, and no will look like this on this side, okay? When they're moving, I can feel the energy. I know you can't feel it, right? I can feel the shift. Basically, it's feeling the shift, all right? So when they, like right now, it looks like both of them are moving, right? But I know that they're swaying the right side more. For some reason, it looks like it. Yeah, and I have asked them, can you guys try to not sway both of them? Okay, see, that's better. Yeah. So they heard me, they're trying. What happens, I suspect, well, let me ask them. Is this what happens, is that the energy just moves the other one even though you don't intend it to? Okay, so crossover, yes. A crossover yes usually means like, yes, yeah, we're really, yep, you got it on the head, okay? Sometimes they answer and it's kind of slow and I'm like, okay, the energy is slower around that. And then I might have to tease it out a little bit just to see. So it's just maybe their way of communicating to me when something's like a strong yes, is they'll, yeah, okay, they'll cross over like that. So don't worry if you see, if I say it's yes or no, then I think you'll just have to trust that I can tell where the energy is shifting, okay? But if you see something that looks like they're both moving, then it's just, it does look that way more on camera, to be honest, than what it does look like from my viewpoint back here. Okay. And they're basically, if you're new, I'm just going to show you. They're basically like little, it spins around. I don't have any control. All I'm doing is holding on to this. And if people ask me, I do have a link in the description. It's an affiliate link for the ones that I recommend. And I happen to have Velcro on mine. I just put Velcro on mine because I was concerned about the metal going into my body. But I've heard if these are copper, which I believe they are, but I've heard that that's actually not bad for you. It's actually good for your body. So, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to take the chance because I don't know 100% where things are made and whatever. So that's why I have that on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the questions. Again, these are all questions about those who voted for 45. That was what it originated from. And there might be, I haven't even read through the questions. There might be other ones. So, all right, let's get started. So again, these are questions from you. Okay, are you ready, SGs? Okay, cool. All right. Did some who voted for 45 do so just because they believe of what they hear on of faux news, which is really Fox News, obviously? Yes. Okay. So the answer is yes. Did some people who voted for 45 do so because they see themselves as a Republican? Yes. So I think what we're getting at here what I think we're getting at here is people, so we have, if you watch the previous video first, this would help you guys. So if you haven't watched my previous video, it might actually help for you to go watch that. I will have it in the description. I'll have it the second thing under the description under the Spirit Circle link. I'll have it there. Okay, so you can watch that. So there'll be more perspective if you watch that first. So what I think we're getting at here is, did those who voted, did they just vote because they voted that way because they were watching Fox News, basically? Yep. And did they believe they were being told the truth? Yes. Okay. And we do ask questions about like MAGA versus Republican, and that's why the second question is, is it just people who always vote Republican voted? Okay. And I know there's going to be people, and including myself, who are like, well, that's no excuse when you know somebody has been convicted of 34 felonies, found liable for RAPE, the thing that happened on January 6th, all of that, and, got that all going. And like, in my mind, that's no excuse, right? So I can see a lot of people thinking the same thing. So with that said, I don't think that, I have a feeling. So what I just said, you guys, those three examples especially, were those spun? I was thinking of the question. Were those spun on Fox News, faux news? So that, yeah. Okay, so all of those, yeah, look at the crossover. All of those incidences were spun in a way that showed that those were, it was a political attack. It was really a calm protest. It was spun enough. It was spun enough that people believed it. Is that correct? Yep. So the real issue here is the brainwashers, not the brainwashed. I mean, it is the brainwashed, but you know what I mean? If you know anything about being brainwashed, you'll understand it's more about the brainwashers. So the question is how do we get everybody cleansed from being brainwashed? That's the question. Okay, was the main reason people voted for 45 due to their own racism? Oh, so they shifted, and the answer is no. So again, depending on how we ask the question, right? So was the main reason, so that's the question, right? When we ask, was it the main reason why people voted for 45 due to their own racism? They say no. Was it part of the reason why people would vote for 45? Okay, so the answer is yes. So that's when you're doing this, if you're going to get your own and you're going to get some oracle cards or something, the whole key is learning how to ask the right questions, really. That's the important part, because one little word can change their response. And sometimes you're like, I don't understand why they're responding that way. You have to take a look at what you just said. And because I have the questions in front of me, it was way easier for me to do that than when I just sit here impromptu and I ask questions, which is what I did in the last video. Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, okay. They're like, yes. Oh my gosh. You guys, that was so weird. Oh, okay. I've never asked them that question. When I just sit and ask questions without having it in front of me, which somebody did actually recommend that I write down some questions. Okay, I get it. Not just because it appeared maybe I was confused, but I do like my flow, okay? But maybe what I need to do is just write down a few questions so that, and then let it flow from there. But, okay, that was so weird, you guys. I picked it up and the energy was like, yes! Because I think yeah, they're doing it again. That is so funny. I think what they're saying is when it's in front of me, the question is written in front of me, I could see how it was being asked. But when I just ask it, I can't even remember how I asked it if I just asked it off the top of my head. But I'm going to have to, sometimes I have to just do that because I'm going to ask a lot more things than what is written in front of me. So that's just something to keep in mind, okay? Do some of the people who voted for 45 regret their vote already? Yes. If so, do many of the people who voted for 45 regret their vote already? The answer is yes. Great way to ask that question. That was perfect. So it's like we were careful with the words. Do some of the people, okay? Then if yes, do many of the people. That was a really good way to ask that question. Let's see. Do many who voted for 45 do so because he's a businessman solely? I mean, is that like their primary reason? Oh, okay. So yes. So you're saying they see him as a qualified businessman. Okay. They've been basically lied to about his qualifications of being a good businessman. Yes, yes, and yes. Good question. Did many who voted for 45 do so because they will not vote for a woman? It's a slight yes. So the majority, would you say, I'm going to ask the SGs, would you say the majority of people who voted for 45 did so because they didn't want to vote for a woman? No. So that's not the majority of people. So the question is many, the term many. I mean, we could literally get down to percentages if we really wanted to, but that would be kind of boring. Okay, so just get the idea that, okay, there were some people who voted for 45 because they simply didn't want a woman. Let me ask this. Were of those voters, I want to ask the difference between men and women. Of those voters, were there more women voters who voted for 45 who just wouldn't want a woman in power? I wondered about that. The answer is yes. And do the women who voted for 45 and don't really believe a woman should be president, are there more women like that than men? Oh, the answer is yes. I wondered, women, come on now. We got to stop this. Women, you know how women solve problems. You've seen it with each other. You ever watch a couple guys solve a problem? Or they get mad at each other? And that's it. Then they're done. Whatever means. I mean, but women? Oh boy. Okay. We got to get over this, girls. We got to get over it. I'm totally generalizing. and judging. So my apologies. But, I'm also a sociologist at heart. I did get I have 2 undergraduate degrees, one in psychology and one in social work, which is really sociology. And I just love human behavior. It's a very interesting thing to me. So I pay very, very close attention to human behavior. So I don't have any stats, but I could probably, I can talk about what I just talked about with confidence anyways. Okay, did many who voted for 45 do so because they will not vote for a person of color? Okay, the answer is no. I'm sure there's some. Yeah, they just switched to yes for some, but not many. Do many who voted for 45 think he is picking good people for their cabinet? Oh, okay. Big no. Not a huge crossover no, but just, yeah, much stronger no. I wonder if they have a harder time with crossover, because it does depend sometimes on how you hold them. I'm not swaying them, but it does depend on, it can get a little stuck in this little thing sometimes. So I have to be careful about that. And the way just the way your hands are. This is the way my hands work, Okay. Are the majority of people who voted 45 against women's rights? No. If no, did the voters just not realize the damage his leadership could have on women's rights, let's say? Yes. So that's my guess, is that they don't. Okay, so are the majority of people who voted for 45 against abortion? Yes. Is that because of religious reasons? Yes. So it's not. So is it about being prejudiced towards women? No. Is there do they have an understanding though of how serious it is for women's health? No. Is that because of how much time they spend on phone news? Or no news at all, let's say? Yes. So they weren't educated on phone news or any of the right-wing networks about that, correct? So the answer is no, they weren't educated, and yes, I am correct. Okay. Okay, very interesting, right, guys and gals? When I say, everybody always says guys when it's about everybody. It's kind of interesting. Are the majority of people who voted for 45 against LGBTQIA plus rights? No. Or do a lot of his voters not realize the damage his leadership could do to this group? That is correct. Isn't that interesting? This is called perspective. If you listen to Whimsy, it's Whimsy, I don't have my phone near me. Whimsy of the Oracle, I think. If you just type in Whimsy and like psychic, let's see, Whimsy, whoops. Whimsy, Whimsy Tarot. Whimsy, no. The Oracle of Whimsy, okay? She does remote viewing, which means she taps into people's auras and can read them, which I have a side note about that. And she tapped into those who would vote for 45, like their energy, actually prior to the election. And she was quite concerned, actually, about why they would be voting for 45. And it really had a lot to do with their finances and their, So it's just interesting to know. We assume they're all racist. They're all, against women's rights, against LGBTQIA plus rights. But that appears to not be the case, okay? But they might have like one strong stand. It's just that in our minds, the people who watch left-wing stuff, are like, which we got a lot of information about. We were always reminded about January 6th. We were very well educated on how the Roe versus Wade is affecting women's health. If they thought they were getting news, accurate news, which I have an issue with, but if they thought they were getting accurate news, not entertainment, which it comes off, if you watch it, it comes off like it's accurate news, if you can watch some of it. I mean, I get repulsed by half the people on there only because it's in my head that they're lying. But if you can look at it from an outside perspective, it looks like a regular news program. So that's the issue society has. That's our issue, that we have to fix that. We have to fix that. So sorry, I keep clearing my throat. Just getting tiny bit over my cold I had. So the Oracle of Whimsy, I actually had to stop watching her for a while because I do, we go in and out of like what we can deal with. And she was being very like honest about what she was seeing from a different perspective than what I was ready to hear, So, but I really like her. I think she's really good at what she does. And I said I was going to have another point about something, and now I can't remember. All right, maybe I'll remember. Okay, let's see. All right. Did those who voted for 45 know about his felony conviction? Yes. If yes, did they care about it? No. Is it because they didn't believe it? They thought it was a political witch hunt? Yeah. That's what they were. I mean, again, the messages they got over and over again were just different than the messages that people who voted for Harris got. Oh, so my issue with the faux news, this is my issue with that, though. This is where the responsibility comes in. For those who watched Fox News after the last election was, that whole thing. And it came to, they were found out to be liable for lying about the machines. Okay. And there was like some $1 billion loss. I mean, they lost. And my father, who always watched them, said, I mean, at that point, I would put him in the Republican / MAGA. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. He said to me, oh yeah, I'm done watching them. And he kind of felt defeated. Like, I think he realized that he'd been duped. He'd been duped. So anybody who went back and continued watching them, those are the people, they have to be held just as accountable. They just went back and continued watching them. And he did. He went back and continued watching them. So, because I could tell he was still watching them because they used the same rhetoric. You could hear the rhetoric as he would talk to me. So there's where, see, this is why nothing is black and white. Everything. So people who watched faux news after that whole thing, let's just say they were younger. Let's say they were 18 and they started watching it after that whole thing and they didn't even know about it. They were living their lives. They weren't paying attention and they're watching it or watching Rogan or watching whatever the left Newsmax or whatever. No, maybe it's not Newsmax, but those other ones. We don't even put them in the feed. We don't need them in here. People don't need to know what they are. But so there's people who are watching it, trusting that these are real journalists telling the truth. Okay. And that's a societal issue. And we need to call that out. So this is a way bigger society. To me, it's getting like more of a societal issue. I'm moving away from individual responsibilities for some people who voted for 45, Okay. I know there's going to be people who can't do that yet, and that's okay. We're all on different places. All right. But It is a way bigger societal issue, way bigger, that we allowed these platforms to just be information propaganda, lying propaganda, for the election, like X. I mean, give me a break. We just shouldn't be allowing these things to happen. And there's a lot of things so I think as a society, those are the kind of things we have to clean up. And as citizens, those are the things we have to demand will change. There's a lot of stuff that happen in other countries that we do not let happen here. Did you know that they don't show drug companies or drug commercials on TV in other countries at all? They're not allowed to. And there's a reason for that, because it's not helpful for people to see the drug commercials. Okay? Not here though. They don't use corn syrup and most corn syrup is not even allowed because it's a toxin, because it's poisonous. If you go and look at all of the processed food, especially the sweet processed food in the grocery store, if it has corn syrup in it, a lot of it does. Why does the United States allow it, but other countries don't? Other countries don't allow it because they don't want to poison their citizens. We allow it because we're all about greed and money, and that's what's changing right now. That's the exciting part about it. That's what's going to have to change. So there's just a couple examples, and it goes on and on and on, There's positive things about the US too, but right now that's not where we're focused. We're not focused there right now. Okay, so let's see. Would anything have changed how the people who voted for 45 voted? Okay, that one doesn't make sense to me. Are some people who voted for 45 hate-filled? Yes. Is it the majority of people who voted for 45? No. Will the Dems try to enact Article 3, empowering Congress? Oh, they're already saying yes. Empowering Congress to punish 45 for treason. Oh, yes. If yes, oh boy. Okay, this is where I get a little squirmish. And this is where I have to remind you that this is the current energy. Please know that. This is the current energy, okay? Within the minute I ask this question, because things are moving so fast right now, the minute I ask this question, this can change. So that's why we say, besides being liable and all that, but this is why it's for entertainment purposes only, because this is the current energy. So please take responsibility in understanding that, okay? So don't get disappointed if it doesn't quite happen this way. So will the Dems try to enact the Article 3 empowering Congress, Article 3, empowering Congress to punish 45 for treason? I just want to, okay, now they're not answering me. So let me just make sure I'm asking this correctly. Let's just say, will Congress enact Article 3 to punish 45 for treason? Okay, so now I'm getting a wide swing yes. So I said Congress versus Dems. Okay, so yes. If yes, will it be before the January 20th, 2025? No. Okay, so there we go. Will 45 actually take office in January 2025? Okay, they're not answering. Sometimes they just don't want to answer, and I don't know why. Will 45 take office in January of 2025? Okay, they're not answering me. Why aren't you guys answering me? Okay, it's just not a good time to ask it, I guess. Is it just not a good time to ask that question? Okay, the answer is yes. Is that for is it just for the safety of this channel? Oh, okay, good. No. Is it unknown at this time? Is it because it could change so fast we don't know? Oh, Okay. So there is a possibility that he won't take office in January 2025? Is there a possibility he will take office in 2025? Okay, so yes and yes to both of those. Okay. Was 45 the best choice at this time for humanity? Yes. Is that because I had coffee with Karen. I talked about this with coffee with Karen a little bit today. Is that because of the things I talked about with coffee with Karen? Yes. Okay, I guess you'll have to go. Not to try to get you to go watch Coffee with Karen. That's not the point, but I can't go through that whole conversation again. Okay, number 17. Will there be financial difficulties during the next 4 years for average people? Let's just start there. Will there be financial difficulties during the next 4 years for average people? Okay, so this is interesting. Look what's happening, you guys. Yes and no. Okay. So, let me just, can you guys stop? Will there be financial difficulties for most people due to 45's policies over the next 4 years? No. It's not a strong no, though. So let me just see if I'm asking this correctly. Let's see. Okay, let me just ask this. Are there going to be financial difficulties for the world, for most people, for most humans over the next 4 years? No. Will there be so financial difficulties is you got to be real specific. You know what I mean? So if you ask this question, I might have you if you want more specifics, you just got to be really specific because financial difficulties could mean a lot of things. So maybe, I think there's an inflation question coming. So maybe that's, I'm reading the question, just see if I can tease it out. Will 45's policies be in place over the next 4 years? Okay. The answer is no. So they're having a hard time answering that because they're like, well, I didn't even ask about 45's policies though. So I didn't ask about that. So 45's policies will not be in place over the next 4 years? Okay, so the answer is no to both of those. All right, so that part of the question is off the table, which is good news, I guess. Yes, it is. It's good news. So are people going to have as a collective in the United States, let's start there. Let's just say, are we going to be going into a recession in the next 4 years? Okay, the answer is yes. So, financial difficulties, it's hard, what does that mean? So, all right, number 18, is 45's real intention to destroy the United States? No. Is 45's real intention just to be as powerful as he thinks he is? Yes, with a crossover. Does 45 really have the best intentions towards America? No. Does 45 only have the best intentions for himself? Yes. Whoa. Yes. Okay. Is 45 playing an important role for humanity right now? Yes. Was this a part of his soul contract? Yes. Was his soul contract to bring an end to authoritarianism and narcissism and that narcissistic energy? Yes. This is what I talked about in Coffee with Karen today. Was his soul contract, the purpose of his soul contract this is what the Council of Nine talked about. I talked about in Coffee with Karen. You'll have to go there. I'll post it right here at the end of this video. is what I talked about in Coffee with Karen this morning with the Council of Nine. And the Council of Nine said that the energy of the empath has got to say to the energy of the narcissist, no more. Yes. Okay, so this is that shift in energy that's astrological as well for going over the next 20 years. Yes. So this is an ending. This is supposed to be, in theory, again, I'm not an expert in this. I've heard other people talk about it, and anytime I hear something, I always quote the source so you guys can go listen to it yourself. But that's in Coffee with Karen. Sorry. So astrologically, we're shifting on December 19th for another 20-year period. And that 20-year period is actually something that's going to be really delightful for us to be here for, because it's going to be up until then, the end of authoritarianism, the end of narcissistic energy, the end of selfishness, which is what you're seeing, right? And it's coming to an head. It's coming to an head. It actually has popped, basically, is how I think of it. And then we're going into a more calm, more loving, more humanitarian-based energy, which is the empath energy. It's the light worker's energy. That's how I'm seeing it. Now, you can read, you'll have to go to astrologer specific to get the specifics about that, but that's my understanding from a big picture of what I've heard. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so number 20. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, well, this might be a little longer, but we might as well, we don't have too many more. If I'd stop, anyways, I talk in between because I think it's useful. It's useful for me for processing. So and hopefully it's useful for you too. Does 45 care at all about the citizens of the country? No. Is 45's the only thing he really cares about is himself? Yes. Does he care about anybody? Does he really? Okay. So he does have some people he cares about. Okay. The answer is yes. Crossover too. Did the I don't even know if this is, I don't know why I can't say the word Russian, but I feel like I can. We'll just talk about the Russian language. How about that? I don't know why I can't talk about the Russian language, right? We're only a little cautious about things just so the channels don't get dinged, or a video, the big ears and the algorithm paying attention to what people are talking about. And in many respects, it's a good thing. In many respects, there's just certain things that should not be promoted. But see, if they're doing that in certain platforms, they should be doing it on all platforms. Like, how about if you're lying, maybe that should be taken down. How about that? And I'm hoping AI will be able to, well, let me ask, will AI assist us going forward to do away with misinformation? Yes. Will we be able to know if we're watching a news program whether or not they're telling us the truth? Like in the future? Yes. Well, good. We need to expect that, you guys. We need to count on that. Not only count on it, but we need to demand it. We need to demand it. If you get a network, if you are allowed to call yourself a news network, we need to demand that what they are speaking of is following journalism, ethical guidelines, that we need to demand that that's happening. So these are so many things we're going to be able to write once this whole thing is resolved a little bit, we need to be writing to our Congress people and demanding these things. Okay? That'll be fun. We'll be able to do that. It's not hard to do either. Okay, so did the Russians play a part in how the election results ended? Yes. Crossover, yes. Would you say that the election resulted the way that the election results ended with 45 winning because of the Russian interference? Yes. Large crossover. Did 45 really know does he really know what a tariff is? No. Oh, why? I'm whining now. Will 45 ever be held accountable for his treason and felonies? Yes, large crossover. Will we go into inflation in the next 4 years? No. So again, that question probably needs to be teased out, and I don't know enough about it. So will we go into inflation? You see what I mean? We have to be really careful the way we ask questions. And even though my sister is pulling the questions, I don't expect her to have to spend the time trying to ask rephrase the questions the way that you guys want them. So you just have to be really careful about how you're asking. Like that first person who wrote if yes, then clarify, that was perfect. Okay. So just think about that. I know it's hard and I do my best to, it's just now I'm getting tired, so I'm not going to tease out too much. Will they take away Social Security in the next 4 years in the United States? No. Yay. Good, because, well, I won't even get it in the next 4 years. Will they take away Medicare in the next 4 years in the United States? No. Number 27. Will they take away Medicaid in the next 4 years in the United States? No. Good. Good. Current energy, entertainment purposes only. Will they take away, and again, we're talking, so again, the way the question is asked, take away, which means the whole program, right? So if you really wanted to dig in, like if I meet with somebody individually, we really dig in more. So I help clarify, like, here's the first question, then the next one. You unpack it, basically. You got to unpack it, but it's harder to do here. So will they take away welfare in the United States in the next 4 years? No. Number 29, is the country going to stay a democracy at the end of the next 4 years? Yes. This is my question. Will we ever lose our democracy in the meantime over the next 4 years? No. If yes, will the country remain a democracy in 2040? Yes. Will the country still be a democracy in 2050? Yes. Cool. All right, couple more. Let's see. Gotta move myself around here. Whoops. Okay. All right. These are kind of interesting. So are those who voted for 45 subject to some kind of spiritual implant? No. So if yes, do they receive those through television or computers? No. But is there some kind of manipulation, brain manipulations going on between television and computers? Yes. Is it widespread? No. Okay. So just again, trying to unpack this a little bit. Number 31, will aliens interfere on our behalf if need be? Yes. And I would say just other spiritual beings of a higher level who have better technology than we do, right? So I don't usually use the word alien because I think it's because I grew up with the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. So to me, it has a very negative connotation, but I know what you're talking about because I've heard people talking about this. So I did just hear, who did I hear talking about this? Oh, I wish I can give them credit. I don't remember which channel. If you remember which channel you heard this on, let me know. But apparently there was some drones. Oh, it had to do drones over there. So we had an earthquake. If you didn't hear, there was an earthquake outside of California, but it was out in the ocean. Okay. It was near Eureka, up at like northern. And then there was a tsunami warning, which I don't think lasted too long. But somebody I was listening to, and for the life of me, I can't remember who it was, so I apologize. I was listening to, they said that there was a bunch of drones that were kind of in the area over the ocean. Is that true that there were a bunch of drones over the ocean? Yes, near where and this has to, I'm going to, on aliens interfering on our behalf. That's where this question is leading. Were they there prior to the earthquake? Yes. Were the drones controlled by human beings? No. So that's what this person was saying. I wonder if this was the near-death experience channel with Villian, I think her name is. Let me just double check. That might have been her channel. She might have been the one talking about it. I just want to give her credit real quick because that is what you should do, is when you're listening to other people or talking about other things, you should always give credit where credit is due. And it might have been her channel, Vinia, Venia Hill. But her channel is MYNDE, Near Death Experience, from ATOZ. I don't know what ATOZ means. So it may have been her. She may have been the one talking about this. So she did say that some of them were maybe human, but some of them were not. Some of them were controlled by people from other planets. Is that true? Okay, were they all controlled by from, let's just say, aliens? Oh yeah, wide swing. Look at that. So were they there to control the amount of earthquake damage we might have experienced? Or is that what they were doing? So the answer is yes. So that's what she was saying. So that's what occurred to me to keep asking that question. So interesting. So my understanding, so are there a lot of other entities from other places who we can't see but are here just paying attention on Earth? The answer is yes. Are they here to support us? Yes, wide swing. Are they all here to support us? Are there any here for nefarious reasons? Okay, is that anything any individual person needs to be concerned about? So that first one was yes, and now they're saying no. Okay, I just asked that so nobody gets anxiety about that. So, okay. Is there one more here? Okay. What should our energy be focused on? So there was a question that my sister had here at the end. Just what should our energy be focused on? So what should our energy be focused on? And I'm going to leave that with you guys. What should our energy? So that question was not a yes or no, and it's something I could do for Coffee with Karen, is what should our energy be focused on? I think I'm going to know the answer, but let's, what would you say? What should our energy be focused on right now? Right now on December 8th? Because that has shifted, right? From like January 6th or November 6th. It's probably shifted a little bit. So what are you focusing on your energy right now? Maybe that's, so the person who might have asked that is looking for like, what should, if somebody said to you, where should I be putting my energy right now? And I don't mean just, actually, now that I'm hearing that, I don't know that it's just energy, shining the light, keeping my light bright. But where should we be putting our energy? Where should we be putting our energy? So I think it's going to be different for everybody. So this is my take, and I would love to hear what other people think. My take would be that you put your energy where you are called to put your energy. So what you and your spirit guide, your spirit team, which means you're getting little nudges in your head, you're getting little strokes of inspiration. You get something, an idea, and you're like, wow, where did that idea come from? Why did I start thinking about that? That's where you put your energy. Taking care of yourself, listening to your inner guidance, listening to your own intuition, paying attention to your intuition. Because if you don't know what that is, if you haven't been paying attention to it, start paying attention to it. That would be the first place for me to tell you to where to put your energy. Everybody's going to be a little different in that. Then your inner guidance starts to tell you where to start putting your energy. We are all here to do different things. So, I could say, yeah, everybody should write to their congressperson about, not letting Congress run, they should only get one term and it shouldn't be about reelection, which is what I talked about in Coffee with Karen. Eventually that would be a great idea, or a 10-year term, whatever. I don't care what it is, but it should stop being all about it should all stop being all about the reelection of people, right? And the money being poured into that. And yeah, I could say everybody should just do that, but that's not, one, what I would ever say. And two, we can give suggestions, but everybody's here to do something that's called to them. Like that might not inspire some people to take that action. What you want to do is take your inspired action. Okay? That's how we live in this world. So the most thing you should be doing is taking care of yourself and paying attention to your own inner guidance. And if you're not sure what that is discovering it, discovering your own inner guidance. So that's just where I'm at. So what do you guys think? All right, well, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.